My older sister has multiple DUIs and struggles to find a job, so I made her an offer to be an employee for my business, but my parents took that as a chance to try and strong-arm me and make her a co-founder, and I threatened to not hire her at all and put the blame on them if they don't back off. I, 28F, run my own business as a seamstress, selling clothes I've made as well as doing alterations. I've been open for 2 years, and I do a steady business. My primary income from my business is the alterations I do. I have a sister, 29F, who we'll call Lana. Lana is currently a recovering alcoholic, and I'm trying my best to support her. Due to DUIs, she has been struggling to find a job, and her mental health isn't helping her keep any job she finds. I feel really bad for her, and while we were visiting my parents on Monday, I made the offer that she could work for me. When I made the offer, I said that she could work inventory and register like a normal employee. She seemed pretty on board but said she would have to think about it since she didn't want to leech off me. Our parents were also really on board and encouraging and thought this would be a great opportunity for both of us. On Wednesday, my mom called me and asked if the building would now be in both Lana's and my name. I asked her what she meant, and she said since Lana is co-owner, her name should be on the lease. I told her it wouldn't, because she wouldn't be co-owner. I made it clear to my mother that Lana would be like any other employee. The reason I wanted her to work with me is so if she relapsed, she wouldn't risk losing her job again, since I know what she's going through. Mom beat around the bush trying to convince me to make Lana co-owner, and I repeatedly told her no, not only for Lana's sake but also the sake of my business. I don't think Lana would be a bad co-owner, but at this time, she's still fairly unstable, and I don't want her to get stressed and fully break her sobriety. I made this clear to my mother in our phone call before she eventually gave up. I thought that was the end of it. A few hours later, Lana called to ask if I hired her, what she would be doing. I told her the same thing I said at dinner, that she would mostly be doing inventory, register, etc. She asked if she would help with any of the clothes, and I told her when she learned to sew, I would consider it. She accepted and seemed excited with the arrangement, since both of us have always loved fashion, and we agreed I would host an interview with her at the end of next week on my day off. My dad called me yesterday, scolding me about the position I was putting Lana in. He was telling me a meaner version of what my mother was saying and continuously trying to hound me to give Lana a higher position. I was getting really frustrated, and I told him that if he and Mom wouldn't stop pushing, I just wouldn't hire Lana at all. My dad called me a terrible sister before hanging up. I called Lana and told her what happened and my words about not hiring her. She got upset with me, and I apologized and told her I still wanted her to work with me. I just didn't want the drama with Mom and Dad. She understood but is still upset with me that I'd even say that, even in the heat of the moment. Am I the jerk for telling my family my sister couldn't work with me because of them? Update 1 day later. So, before I get into the update, I would like to clear up some questions that were raised in the comments. I tried my best to answer them all, but I got a lot. First, Lana is not a felon. In our state, her DUIs are considered misdemeanors due to the BAC level she had, plus the fact that her only crime while driving under the influence was going below the speed limit. Second, my parents' behavior was very out of the blue. They're usually very supportive and rational, but I think the stress of Lana is making them act irrationally. As one commenter put it, they see her working for me as a magic bullet to fix everything, and when I tried to set the boundary of her being an employee rather than a co-owner, they thought I was not going to give her a good job at all. Third, my business is very small. I run it all by myself, and like I said in my first post, most of my money comes from alterations rather than my own designs. Fourth, what I said about Lana not getting the job was heat-of-the-moment frustration when talking to my dad. He was yelling at me over the phone and was being incredibly pushy, and it felt like I was talking to a brick wall. I still have full intentions to hire Lana, and the interview for this coming Friday is still on. I just said it to try and get Dad off my back, and I apologized to Lana about even saying it to begin with, since it wasn't fair to her. Fifth, some people were implying Lana's drinking had to do with our parents. It does not. Up until this point, we've never had any major rifts with our family, and we've always been incredibly tight-knit. The reason for her drinking was because of something outside of us. I won't say what, since it is not my place, but our parents have nothing to do with her addiction other than giving both of us the addiction gene. Anyways, here's the update. Lana called me after dinner last night, and we talked. She spoke with our parents and told me that my suspicions of a lot of this being a stress-filled misunderstanding were correct, and she invited me over this morning for breakfast with them all. I got back literal minutes ago as I'm writing this. It was pretty awkward at first. Our parents were still on this high horse about Lana getting a good position, however, we were able to talk it out. Lana explained how she doesn't feel ready for such a position while she's still recovering and how it would make her feel like she's leeching off me. She also pointed out that their pushiness was impacting her and my relationship and stressing her out more, since she felt like she had to pick a side. She appreciated their concern, however, as she pointed out, that concern was coming at a detriment to all of us. I told them how I felt like they didn't respect my business and how hurtful their words and actions were, especially my dad yelling at me, as raised voices have always been something I'm sensitive about. I explained my perspective of how I didn't want to stress out Lana with a position she really isn't ready for, nor does she have the experience for, and it felt like I was getting punished for trying to help her out. I brought up what another commenter said about how it was like expecting me to put her on the lease of my apartment she doesn't even live in. My parents really took some time to think over what Lana and I were saying while they made breakfast. When we sat down to eat, they apologized to us and explained that they were terrified of Lana having another relapse. Apparently, before we were born, my mom's cousin suffered from addiction and mental health issues, which eventually led to her committing. They were terrified that the same might happen to Lana, which was why they were pushing for a more permanent position. It was a hard talk, but those were the important bits. It ended with some tears from my mom and so many apologies. We've all agreed it would be good to look into family therapy. Lana is already seeing an addiction psychologist and plans to consult them about good family support groups and therapists at her next session. My parents keep occasionally texting me, asking if I need help with anything and if I'm okay, which is their way of apologizing even more. The interview between Lana and me is still on, and I've already set some boundaries with her about what it means working under me to ensure she has structure without enabling her. When we get the therapist, I'll also be speaking with them for more tips. I'm a bit surprised things resolved this fast, but not really. My family and lingering tension is like oil and water. None of us can ever go to bed upset. I think things are going to be weird for a while, but in the end, I think it'll be alright. I'm excited to work with Lana, and I am nervous but eager to start family therapy, since I think it will be good for all of us. Thank you all for your kind comments and support. Other than responding to comments, this will probably be the last post I make, since I just made this account to get advice. Thank you.